They battled back from that before, opening up the season 0-2, and then battling back to being above 500 at 4-3-1. They're sitting at 4-5-1, so we'll just have to see how they respond once again to losing two straight. I look forward to seeing the competition out there. I think that Lander also started out 0-2, so both teams have shown resiliency throughout the season already, and we should have a good matchup today.
Well, both teams coming over adversity early in the season. Whoever comes over more adversity tends to be more successful. It's going to be an exciting matchup here in Dahlonega. It's Lander, it's North Georgia, and the kickoff is next.
Considering a career change? Ready to lead in healthcare? Be a nurse in 15 months with our accelerated Bachelor's of Nursing track. Learn more at ung.edu/ABSN.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
Northeast Georgia Health System is a proud supporter of North Georgia Nighthawk Athletics.
While fall has started in the calendar years, we're now in the early part of October here in Dahlonega. Certainly doesn't feel like it. Still dealing with those summer-type temperatures. 81 degrees right now at kickoff at 5 p.m. in early October. Still awaiting those fall temperatures to arrive here. But the sun setting a little bit earlier, so maybe those cool temperatures come into factor a little bit later on. North Georgia looking to end their 2-game losing streak against Lander. Lander in the month of September put up a 4-3-2 record, only picking up their first win on September 16th against Montevallo, winning 3-0 over them. And since the Montevallo game, they've gone and posted a 4-1 record, including even beating a ranked team at number 16 Clayton State in Clayton State. Well, actually, excuse me, a loss at Clayton State, but by only 1 goal.
Yeah, they've really turned their season around so far. Like you stated, not getting their first win until Montevallo, and then, winning a few games, getting to 500, and taking it wire to wire against one of the top teams in the country. So they've really improved over the last few games, and it's exciting to see.
And North Georgia's going to kick this one. It's going to be a trip there right at the beginning of the game, but a Lander player goes down immediately. Looks like, didn't get the number on that one, but Daniel Prieto going down on the field for Lander.
Looks like he's stretching it out a little bit, walking around up on his feet, which is always a good sign to see. And he'll actually take the throw in. So it looks like he is up and at him. He's doing a lot better.
This one's going to go over the midfield line, where Jamie Escos Castillo is right there on the recovery for Lander. This one going to be dribbled at midfield. That one's going to go back towards the goalkeeper, and where it's going to be blocked up in the air, but Juan Rodriguez comes up with the save for Lander. So it could be dribbled up right up at midfield. Landon Avelos there right up, battling with Lander at midfield as this one's going to be kicked right back over into North Georgia territory. Or the goalkeeper will kick this one right out of bounds, stopping a North Georgia advance. At the 42-minute mark, the team is yet to take a full shot on the goal. It's going to be thrown in, and it's going to be attempted to be headed into the goal, but Juan Rodriguez comes up with the stop. That one's going to be bounced off the chest of Michael Walsh. Walsh is going to back this one to Elwin Asiedu. Landon Avelos almost tripped up. North Georgia gets retaining of the ball. Mattia Balzano, on the charge, but ball will just eventually land out of bounds, where it's going to be, looks like it'll be a North Georgia throw-in. This is going to be a Lander throw-in. Jed Smith is going to pass this one over to Rob Diamond. So it's going to go deep into Lander territory, but it's just going to roll right out of bounds. Elwin Osiedu right over there for North Georgia. And it looks like Hazel Lay is going to throw this one in. "40-minute mark, not yet a shot on the goal. Ball has been around really the 3/4 of the inside of the field. Not really too many shots taken in the box, or shots at least on the goal. Hazel Lay's battling one that out there, gets out of a possible sticky situation where this one's going to be right back into the feet of Landon Avelos. So now Michael Walsh is going to kick this one over to midfield to Avelos. And this one's going to roll right out of bounds where it's going to be, looks like it's going to be another Lander throw-in. It'll be Daniel Prieto throwing it in for Lander. This is going to be a tough matchup for North Georgia. All time, Lander is 24-2 against North Georgia. And this one's going to be tossed in right over. Elwin Osiedu down there for North Georgia. Osiedu is going to block that ball, but it's going to go right out of bounds. And it's going to be a Lander throw-in deep in the corner and deep in North Georgia territory. Rashawn Kelman's going to be in the area for Lander. North Georgia stacking up the box. Ball's going to be thrown in. It's going to be headed by a Nighthawk, and this one's going to get kicked way out of bounds by Charlie Bushby. And North Georgia will regain possession. That was really the first true shot on the day for really any team getting the closest opportunity to getting a goal shot. Elwin Osiedu in the backfield for North Georgia is going to kick this one to Aram Laura. It's going to be headed by Elwin Osiedu. Osiedu going to go for the other header where Lander has regained possession. Charlie Bushby right there for Lander. So it's going to go into the backfield towards Daniel Prieto. It's like this one's going to be thrown in by Charlie Bushby. Said his name a couple of times on the broadcast already. It's going to be a free kick in to the box. And that one's going to be a nice save by Hazel Lay right over there in the goalkeeping position. Prevents Lander from scoring their first goal. That one's going to be almost kicked in by Rashawn Kelman. We're at the 36-minute mark, still tied at 0. This one's going to go towards the backfield where there's a Lander defender, Jamie Escas Castillo, and this one's going to get kicked right back to Juan Rodriguez. Rodriguez is going to kick this one over to the midfield area where Carlos Madrid is on the charge for Lander, and he's going to miss that goal shot. Going to be wide left of the goal, and that's going to be another missed opportunity for Lander to put their first goal up on the board today. That'll be Carlos Madrid's second attempt on a goal this season. Still's looking for that first goal of the season. 0 for 2 on the year so far. Hazelay is going to kick this one deep for North Georgia, where it's going to be headed right in the area of Max Garnett. Asiedu heads that one up in the air. This is going to be a triple header. That one headed by Landon Avelos. Where now it looks like it's going to be looks like North Georgia will have possession. Asiedu is going to kick this one to Lay. Lay is going to kick this one real deep where it's met by a Lander player. So they're going to be back into North Georgia territory. Charlie Bushby. And he's going to lose control of the ball there. North Georgia is going to try to make their first attempt on goal today. Max Garnett right over there in coverage, where this one is just going to land right out of bounds. We've talked about Charlie Bushby a lot so far in today's game. He's played in 8 games for Lander, 8 out of the 10 they've played so far. And for Bushby, 1 goal off of 1 attempt. Off an assist. Charlie Bushby on a penalty kick has been 1 for 1 on the season so far. Awaiting this ball to be thrown in by Lander deep into North Georgia territory. All players inside the box. That one's going to be a nice header by Michael Walsh to prevent any goal attempt there for Lander. This one's going to be a deep charge for North Georgia into Lander territory. Mattia Balzano is right there, and that one's just going to go right out of bounds. So it's going to be thrown in by North Georgia. Asiedu in the backfield. And there's going to be a battle up there in midfield. This player's tripped up. Charlie Bushby said his name a couple times on the broadcast, went over his stats. It's like North Georgia will regain possession of the ball. So it's going to be kicked off by Aram Laura. And Mikhail Prince is going to make a charge and attempt at a goal for North Georgia. He's going to pass this one to Santiago Cano, where Juan Rodriguez is going to come up with the save for Lander.
Yeah, Mikel really using his speed there to get by the defender. He takes a good angle, runs fast, and then gives it up for a shot in the middle. Lander did a great job of keeping up with that and deflecting that. But Mikel Prince's speed is going to be something to look at here tonight.
And there's going to be a charge into deep in Lander territory inside the box, but Juan Rodriguez is going to come up yet again with the ball for Lander. Well, one thing both North Georgia and Lander are sharing for one thing North Georgia shares with Lander University is that both of them have new head coaches this season. As you guys already know, Anel Lilich coming in for the old North Georgia head coach after he stepped down and accepted a teaching position in Forsyth County, but also Lander's got a new head coach in Dale Parker.
Yeah, Coach Parker's taken over a program that's had a lot of success recently. They've been towards the top of the Peach Belt Conference standings almost every year the past 5 or so years. So big shoes to fill, but, being able to get his team to respond after taking 2 losses, both to ranked teams, to open up the season is a big win for a new coach. And Anel has a similar situation, getting a team to bounce back after an 0-2 start as well in his first year. So there's a lot of similarities between the two so far early in this year.
Owen Asiedu is going to kick this one out of bounds. Under the 30-minute mark in the first half, so far no goals for either team. But Lander's gotten a couple of close shots down there, more opportunities down on the North Georgia side of things. North Georgia on the Lander side of the field's gotten more direct shots towards the goal, but he's yet to also put anything in the back of the net. Lander's going to throw this one in, where it's going to be headed by, looks like, Loic Gunn. That one's going to be passed back deep towards midfield, where there's going to be a big North Georgia run on this one. Looks like Tyler Vitelli deep in the backfield for North Georgia, and that one's just going to sail just left of the goal, and what would have been the first goal of the game. Tyler Vitelli, that was Max Garnett on the attempted shot and attempted goal there, but just coming up short.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of counter attacks here for North Georgia so far early on. It looks like they're comfortable kind of sitting back and striking on the counter attacks.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've noticed so far in today's game, that Landers had the ball a little bit more in North Georgia's possession, maybe a couple more shots on goal, but in heavy coverage inside the box, where North Georgia's shots on goal so far have been either a deep run downfield, really in one-on-one situations.
Yeah, I think it's just 2 different styles, 2 different philosophies maybe. On one side, you want to create as many chances as possible, and you got to think one of them is going to go in, 2 of them are going to go in. And then on the other side, it's about making your opportunities as quality as possible and getting as good of an opportunity as you can possibly get. And a lot of times when you see that kind of thing, one side gets more opportunities, but the other side gets better opportunities. So it just kind of depends on, what your style is and kind of what you're looking for as far as a game plan.
Lander so far having a very tough schedule. They faced that's the number of nationally ranked teams they have faced this season. They tied at Number 7, Rollins, 2-2. They lost 5-1 in their opening game against Florida Tech. And at number 16, Clayton State, they've dropped that game as well. All of those games, note, coming on the road.
Yeah, a very tough schedule Landers put together in non-conference play. Specifically, Clayton State, North Georgia played them in their last game, and it kind of got away from them late in the second half. But yeah, a bunch of good programs on their schedule this year. Florida Tech is always in the hunt at the top of the rankings. So that probably has prepared them for conference play a little bit more, having to face that many nationally ranked opponents.
And it's interesting where a lot of it in the later part of the regular season, you're playing pretty much all in-conference teams. But 5 of their matchups so far have come from schools that are from the Sunshine State Conference, which is quite interesting normally because you're playing teams from all over the place. But really, to really have your schedule split up between 2 conferences, the Peach Belt and the Sunshine State Conference.
Yeah, that's a really good conference for a lot of sports, but specifically men's soccer. A lot of those teams, are in the national tournament at the end of the year. So it was good. I'm sure that Coach Parker would have liked to play maybe something a little bit easier, but I'm sure it has prepared his guys to be ready to go when Peach Belt Conference play starts out.
And this is Landers' first game inside for Peach Belt soccer action, and this will be one of 2 matchups against North Georgia this season. They're going to be taking them on today, obviously. We're still tied at 0-0 under the 25-minute mark in the first half. Looks like Landers trying to make a charge downfield. Christian Hatley. This is going to get broken up immediately by Harrison Wright. This one's going to be passed off to Landon Avelos. So Landers going to play North Georgia, playing right now, and they're going to play them at the end of the month on October 25th, and North Georgia will have to go on the road to face Lander.
Yeah, it's a little bit different setup in the men's league. The women's league has multiple teams and they only play each other one time a season. But on the men's side, they play twice. You get a good look at your opponents, and then most likely you're going to play someone 3 times if you make the Peach Belt Conference tournament.
So far on the men's soccer season, North Georgia has played 4 teams in the Peach Belt so far, posting a 1-2-1 record in the Peach Belt. They were at Georgia Southwestern on Saturday, September 16th, where they tied 1-1. They versed USC Aiken at home 2 weeks ago, and they beat them 3-0. They were at number 14 Clayton State, lost 5-1, and they were at Flagler, losing 3-4. Now North Georgia is going to be entering a little bit of a home stretch. This game and the next game, this Saturday, are at home. They only have 2 more away games out of the next 6 games. So that's definitely something that North Georgia wants to see, especially with having most of their losses coming on the road and not at home.
Yeah, definitely a sigh of relief for the players and the coaching staff just to be able to stay home, be in a place you're comfortable, have the support from the fans and from your students. I'm sure that's a huge sigh of relief for them to be kind of over the hump on most of their away games this season.
And one thing we mentioned at the top of the broadcast too, North Georgia's Spirit Night tends up to put one of the best attendance numbers when it comes to Division II men's soccer, or even women's soccer at that as well. So that's something to look out for, as North Georgia has one of those more loyal fan bases when it comes to Division II play, whether it's soccer, basketball, or even softball. For instance, just for the people that weren't there when the softball national championship, and it looks like North Georgia's making a deep run into Lander territory, where Max Garnett was down there. This one's going to be a attempted shot on the goal, and Mikhail Prince not able to come up with the proper bounce to get it towards the back of the net.
Yeah, good deflection there by the Lander defender. Just really getting it away from where McKell Prince expected it to be was huge.
At the 20-minute mark, score still tied at 0. And there's going to be a foul called. Bryan Properties, a commercial real estate brokerage firm that specializes in commercial real estate along the Georgia 400 corridor, is a proud partner of North Georgia Athletics. And as we were talking about earlier, and attendance, look at the North Georgia Softball National Championship and the fans that showed up to that game. And note with that, the Softball National Championship, it's softball and baseball, the only two that'll have their postseasons that are during the summer stretch for colleges, which is May through mid-August. To be able to have those fans come out to those games was a big help for the softball team as they were en route to win the 2023 National Championship. But that just goes to show how loyal this North Georgia fan base is.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially in a moment like that, playing in the national championship, I'm sure that, even maybe your casual fan would be interested in tuning in or showing up to those kind of events. So whenever the national spotlight is there, the fans have always come out and supported.
It looks like Lander players slid into Hazel Lay there. And to continue that conversation, not only people were just at the game, but they were also watching online. I talked to a couple people recently that normally maybe North Georgia Athletics isn't the top conversation, but they were like, oh, yeah, we watched every game of the national championship. And the fans tune out, whether they're in person or watching online. And softball's not the only event. They come out to any of the events. The Augusta game last year in men's basketball, that place being electric and me being in the production room and being able to hear everything from the outside was pretty impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think it just goes back to, when the fans can feel when, their presence is really going to boost the team. And that was those occasions that you just mentioned are many of them. And really, you can also add just the facilities that we have here at North Georgia is a huge, idea of like what kind of support that these fans give.
Yes, I've been to a couple of the Peach Belt Conference facilities, and you have too as well. You've been to other Division II sites, and I will say North Georgia, out of the ones I've been to, have been the ones that are the most consistent around the board when it comes to away facilities, and that one's going to be nearly in from Lander, but Ellen Osiedu on the header/block there prevents Lander from getting their first goal of the game. But as we were saying, great facilities, North Georgia soccer, I don't think it gets talked enough about, but only a couple of years ago, they didn't even have a field house out here. Before, like halftime or pregame, there was no place to go. You'd have to hang out on the sidelines outside, but now field house is here, and now you got a nice setup here for North Georgia soccer.
Yeah, you can definitely see the commitment to all the sports here. From Coleman Fieldhouse, where baseball and softball are, to the field house back here at the UNG soccer field at Lincoln Trail Park. Overall, just great experience for the athletes and getting to be a part of a program like this and to play in facilities like this.
I won't say too much on it, but I think greater things are on the way when it comes to a lot of the aforementioned things that we've been talking about, whether it's facilities or the fan experience. This one's going to go down into Lander territory where Asiedu is down in the backfield for North Georgia, and that ball's going to sail right out of bounds. Looks like we got subs coming in for North Georgia.
Stepping on for North Georgia, number 14, Paige Sinclair. And number 31, Con Ayo.
Con Ayok and Paige Sinclair stepping on for North Georgia. And then you also have a bunch of substitutions on the Lander side. Giacomo Sartori is stepping on. Jonah Miller and number 30 Darius Wallace all stepping on for Lander University. And that's going to be a major save there by Hazel Lay. Lay coming up pretty crucial in this game tonight, TJ. Making a lot of blocks against a Lander team that has been able to score on some very good teams this season.
Yeah, that was a very tough save to have to make. Not exactly one-on-one with the keeper, but pretty much a great opportunity for the Bearcats there, and Hazel Lay just made the play. He tried to set up in the middle, try to make himself big, and then had to dive to his right and get one hand on it to deflect it out of bounds.
And that's something you want to see from this North Georgia defense, and that one's going to be thrown in, but it's not going to get anywhere, and that one's going to be headed away from the box, where there's going to be a battle for it right there. And North Georgia's going to try to make something out of this. This was going to go to Paige Sinclair. Aram Laura over there in the area. And that one's going to be just battled out between Juan Rodriguez and it looked like Max Garnett in the area, but the ball will just sail out of bounds. Garnett, one of the star players for North Georgia on this team so far. We've seen a lot of action with him, especially charging down the field and inside the box today, and really all season. Garnett's going to throw this one in, where it's going to be met by a couple Lander players. And Landon Arvelos right there at midfield to prevent anything from Lander going downfield again, but it's going to be a Lander throw-in with Jamie Escos Castillo throwing this one in for Lander. Ball's going to cross over into Lander territory, where it's going to be Daniel Prieto. It's going to be a North Georgia throw-in. It's like Max Garnett on the far side of the field. That's going to be the one throwing it in for North Georgia. Elwin Asiedu and Michael Walsh making their way inside the box. Looking like maybe a potential header from one of those two players. It's going to be thrown in by Garnett. Walsh is there for the header, and it's battling around in the box where it's going to get back to Garnett, and this one is going to be, the ball is going to stop right at the out-of-bounds line where Lander is going to recover. And this one's going to be just picked up by, and there's going to be a couple North Georgia Nighthawks right over there charging towards Darius Wallace to get the ball back.
A great effort there by Paige Sinclair, coming pretty much the whole way across the field, to stop that counter attack from happening. Using those fresh legs that he has as a sub to, make a good play and put a lot of effort in there. And I'm sure he'll be rewarded by his teammates for that one.
It's like there's going to be more subs entering the game for Lander. Grant Wagner is going to step off the field for Lander. We've got a new Bearcat on the field. Looks like it's going to be Mika Lankoff stepping on for the Bearcats.
Yeah, very interesting substitutions by Lander already. They've subbed in almost the entire team in and out in this first half. I believe there's only 2 or 3 guys that haven't made it on the field already.
And it looks like there's a North Georgia player down on the field. He was the one that headed the ball. Can't see the jersey number from here, but He came right in. The throw-in was right there, and it looks like it's Michael Walsh that was down on the field. Ball was thrown in, and I didn't see any contact made. Hazel Lay looks like he might be giving the thumbs up to the trainers, but everything looks good. But didn't see any contact made there. Maybe just a hard hit to the ball because he was the one there that deflected the ball with his head.
Yeah, it's always tough to even see that contact when there's a bunch of bodies down there in the box. It's kind of just a free for all most of the time, but he looks like he's okay. He's up and moving around, running around. So.
Yeah, it was a good sign, Lay giving the thumbs up to the trainers without having them to come step on the field. This one's going to be passed over the line. Where now it's going to be in the North Georgia the Lander backfield. So it's going to be kicked deep by Daniel Priicho. Where this one's just going to land right out of bounds. We're under the 10-minute mark. Score is still tied at 0. We've seen a lot of bend, don't break defense today from both teams.
Yeah, the pace of play has been really fast so far. It feels like Lander early started out with a lot of playing more possession, and now it's been a lot of counterattack, back and forth play.
This one's back into North Georgia possession. Max Garnett back there in the backfield. Asiedu passing this one off to Mattia Balzano. Balzano going to get this one off to Paige Sinclair, where Harrison Wright is going to be dribbling the ball, and it looks like Lander's signaling that looks like it's going to be still North Georgia ball with Wright throwing it in for North Georgia. Wright passing this one to Mattia Balzano. Wright back in possession with the ball. And now Lander takes back the ball. Darius Wallace getting right in the middle of that one. Getting the ball back in Lander's possession as Lander's looking to make a run down the field. Jed Smith kicking that one deep downfield. Where now it's going to be back kicked. And this one's going to land right out of bounds just into Hazel Lay's hands. Another good defensive stop by North Georgia and what could have been a march down the field by Lander and possibly having a one-on-one situation where Darius Wallace came in and broke up the area and getting Lander the possession back. But North Georgia kicking this one now deep down the field.
Yeah, I think one of the Lander attackers got caught on an offside call right there, which is why we had a free kick from Hazel Lay there so far up the field. But yeah, good job by the back line forcing that offsides by moving up.
Paige Sinclair is going to try to move this ball down the field. He's going to get caught between a couple of Lander bodies. And there's going to be a little bit of a shoulder into the body from, looks like, Mika Lankoff into, I think that was Max Garnett in the backfield. Or on the far side of the field, excuse me. Looks like there's going to be foul called.
Yeah, I think that was Ian Wyndham over there making a really strong defensive effort, kind of putting his body on the line just to get that ball out, get that free kick out of the way, get the ball out of bounds to, kind of stop that run that Lander was on for a second there.
Walsh with the free kick is going to land right back into the Bearcats' possession, and that one's going to go right out of bounds pretty much as soon as the ball got really back in play. Jed Smith in the backfield for Lander is going to pass that one, and that ball is going to sail deep. And it's going to be met by North Georgia. Mika Lankoff is going to pass this one away. And that ball is just going to sail right into Hazel Lay's territory, where Lay's going to give this one off to Harrison Wright. Siedu right there in the backfield for North Georgia. And that's going to land right into Mika Landkoff's feet. And Hazel Lay doesn't have to roll all that much, as that ball would just sail just right of the goal. But another missed opportunity for Lander.
Yeah, it looked like that might have been deflected. It absolutely was deflected by one of the Lander players. Normally that would be a corner, but that deflection gave a goal kick to the Nighthawks.
Lay was showing the right position in order to block the goal, and I think he was anticipating it, but nothing came of it as the ball went the other way and went right past Lay and out of bounds. It's currently a battle at midfield for which side this one's going to land onto. Currently, Jamie Escos-Castillo has possession for Lander. Under 5 minutes to go until we reach halftime. Score still tied at 0 for both teams. This one's going to be right over in Castillo's area, and that ball's going to sail right out of bounds just over the net. Walsh is going to kick this one to Lay. Lay is going to attempt to kick this one deep, where it's going to be met by, looked like, Max Garnett in the backfield, or excuse me, in the far side of the field, where Juan Rodriguez is going to come up with the ball. That one's going to be headed by a Lander player, but Elwin Osiedo is right there to meet the ball back and give it back to Michael Walsh. As North Georgia loses possession, and it goes right back to Lander. And player's gonna get tripped up there, and it looks like it's gonna be a foul called on the play.
I actually think it was a no call. I think this is going to be a goal kick for Hazel Lay here.
Seen a lot of this so far by Hazel Lay. A lot of goal kicks from our goalkeeper tonight.
Yeah, and I think that's, like we were saying earlier, I think it's the two different styles coming out. You're seeing a lot of goal kicks because Lander has been creating so many more opportunities. Just haven't been able to cash in on one quite yet. But it appears that, they're going for more is better. And maybe the quality isn't exactly where they would want it every time, but eventually you're going to get a quality chance if you create so many.
North Georgia on the season has 58 shots on goal, and they have a .509 percentage, while Lander has 53 shots on goal, .453. Looks like we've seen a lot more from Lander tonight so far, but not being able to come up with anything.
Yeah, and to be able to produce those numbers against the schedule that they've had is pretty remarkable. Starting out the season, 2 nationally ranked opponents, playing Clayton State, another nationally ranked opponent. So they're creating their chances. I think that just maybe they haven't been able to cash in as many as they would have liked to.
It's going to be battled out by a couple of North Georgia and Lander players as Aram Laura gets tripped up right there, and that one's going to sail deep out of bounds and is going to go right into the trees, but is actually going to come out on the other side as we resume play.
It's a lucky break for the ball boys out there, not having to go into the forest.
Haven't seen too many balls go in the forest so far this season, or if they have, they've been able to be recovered because they fall right out under that. Lander make a deep run right here inside the box now. A couple Nighthawks are there.
1 minute.
And that one is going to sail far right of the goal. And we have reached under a minute to go until halftime. So it's going to be a...
I think Lander's going to slow play this one, make this the last effort for the half, trying to steal one here late and guarantee that they go into the halftime break tied at a minimum.
It's going to be a throw-in from Lander. And a whistle's going to be called, and nothing came up with that one from Lander. Hazelay is just gonna kick this one deep with 10 seconds left to go until the half, and it's going to be met by a Lander player immediately, where that's going to sail out of bounds, and that's going to end this first half here in Dahlonega. North Georgia Lander tied at 0. It's been a defensive battle, but we have reached halftime. North Georgia 0, Lander nothing as well. We're going to go to our halftime commercial break, and we'll come back and break down the first half and preview what will happen in the second half. Game tied at 0. We're on to halftime.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here. That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatments save more hearts than anywhere in Georgia.
My baby girl is home!
Georgia Heart Institute.
Since 2007, we've seen an explosion in popularity of superhero movies in the last decade. Rayner argues that superhero films offer an escape from the boredom many of us feel with our lives. We love the epic. We want epic lives. There's a tension you're going to face as you celebrate, walk out of this door, and you go to Monday and you say, what's next? And more importantly, how do I live a superhero life? John Gordon, he's a best-selling author on leadership. This is what he says. There's a myth about success, graduates. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. One that says it's all about you. But here's the truth. You're not a real success unless you're helping others be successful. That's the greatest self-growth strategy of all time. The more you help others grow and improve, you grow and improve. Focus on others. It's not about you. And you'll find something even greater than success. Graduates, you'll find significance. But remember, in all of this, there's a tension. How do I live a superhero life? Enter the epic by being bold. Your family, your community, our state, and our nation are all counting on you. Graduates, today we celebrate you. We celebrate your hard work. We celebrate your diligence. We celebrate your commitment. And I am so incredibly proud of you.
You can't really get an idea of how another country runs their military till you go abroad.
It was cool to see their outlook on just life in general. To be there as a global ambassador is definitely a life-changing experience.
I participated in the Management College National Defense University Cadet Exchange. That is located in Taipei, Taiwan.
So I participated in study abroad internship in country of Georgia. The program I participated in was the Swiss Summer Mountaineering course. The experience was extremely professional. There were people from different militaries across the world. I was training with soldiers that were once our adversaries. It's fun to notice the importance of diplomatic relations and also civil affairs through the military.
The host school was always really going out of their way to help us get the full cultural experience because we were, in their eyes, only going to be there for 5 months.
They drove us out and we hiked to a glacier. That was unique, especially coming from Tennessee. There's no ice walls to climb. Their native language of Georgian was very difficult. However, at the end, I gave a little speech in Georgian, thanking their academy. It was an eye-opening experience. One thing I learned in Switzerland was to try and enjoy everything that you're doing, no matter how challenging it is.
Being able to see the country of your target language in person and really living day to day can move your passion to continue learning the language that much further.
All the conferences, all the internship, and all the exchange programs will help you as you develop, not just as a soldier, but also as a person. I think everybody in the course should study abroad because it will develop them so much.
If you have a free semester, it's the perfect time to explore a country. There's really not much holding you back in terms of whether or not you should go. It's a great experience.
I got extremely valuable training and just an overall incredible life experience that I wouldn't have gotten going to any other school. And it was the opportunity of a lifetime.
My wife's family is full of medical professionals, including lots of nurses. The more they talk to me about nursing, the more I realize there are so many different opportunities within the field of nursing. You can constantly continue growing, continue learning, which was something that really drew me to it. I was really attracted to the accelerated program at UNG for a couple reasons. One, I heard that UNG, like everything I've heard about UNG's nursing program is incredible. I have a couple friends who have been through it in recent years and had just spoke very highly of it. Just everything I've seen online, spoken about it, it's just a very reputable program. So UNG was already a pretty clear choice for me. And then seeing the opportunity to do an accelerated program, it was kind of a no-brainer. Honestly, I get to graduate earlier, and one of the things that appealed to me the most actually was that most of our clinical rotations are at Northeast Georgia Medical Center. I am really thankful for the faculty that are specifically dedicated to the ABSN program here. This faculty, they really want to see us succeed in this program and be the best nurses we can possibly be.
From the moment you know where you are headed, it starts a journey that you will never forget. For those who seek a higher calling, to serve something bigger than themselves and take the path less traveled, UNG awaits to prepare you for your leadership pathway. Once you're here, you will be challenged and developed, physically, mentally, and emotionally. Freshman Recruit Orientation Group, or Frog Week, is the first step of the UNG journey. The commitment, the attitude, the effort, and the resilience take shape as you move forward on a pathway that most will never attempt.
Y'all got 2 minutes to change into OCPs. Time now. Let's go. Move it. Move it. Move it.
It is a process that teaches you about yourself and makes you better than you were yesterday. At times, it can be a struggle, but it's also an investment in yourself. Like life, it can create moments of doubt. You learn about yourself and your strengths and weaknesses. You share this journey with the men and women to your left and right, establishing lifelong bonds with the understanding that nothing worth having ever comes easy. But through adversity, you build strength, determination, and the desire to never quit. Frog Week will establish a foundation to build upon, strengthen you physically and mentally, and start shaping you into the leader you came here to be. For cadets at the University of North Georgia, they take the road less traveled, avoid taking the easy way out, and develop instrumental values that will prepare them for a life of service and leadership. Some people talk about it, others are about it.
Welcome you back from halftime here at the UNG soccer field at Lincoln Park, where we're still tied. It's a 0-0 game so far. We've seen a couple of shots on goal by both teams, but nothing has gone in so far. And TJ and I, we were discussing going into halftime that really both these defenses have shown a bend but don't break mentality in today's game. Let's take a look at the live stats so far. UNG's got 4 shots on the goal, where Lander's only gotten 3 shots on goal. But ball possession is a tale of 2 different halves for both of these teams so far as we come into the second half. A lot of the first half, the ball was in North Georgia's territory, and Lander had those 3 shots on goals, but ball's been in their position or possession in most of the game so far. In North Georgia and Lander, both of them, as I said, showing a bend but don't break defense. All corner shots so far in today's game have come from Lander, and that goes to the point of saying where the ball is really placed in most of the game in the right side of the field. Well, when North Georgia has possession of the ball, it really feels like they're going more for a direct shot into the goal, where they have outshot Lander 4-3 so far in the game, where there's not as many contested shots on the goal in the back end for North Georgia and more directly in instead of having a bunch of Bearcats in the backfield. Let's come back from halftime. We want to say a thank you to River City Bank. River City Bank is a proud partner of North Georgia Athletics. Their personal banking products were designed with your unique needs in mind and proudly serve the Rome, Blairsville, and Dawsonville communities. TJ stepping back up on the mic for me as we head back into halftime. I was saying there, getting back in the intro, getting back from the break, that, look, both these teams have been the bend, don't break defense. But my question to you, TJ, is how long can that last? Because not everything is invincible over time.
Well, really we've only seen maybe 1 or 2 real chances. A lot of them are just, shots that, don't have a very good chance of, making it in. But I have seen a lot of back and forth between the 2 teams. It feels like neither team, at the beginning we were talking about Lander was playing more possession based, but it kind of felt like towards the end it was more of, back and forth. And usually that comes with, as you get tired. So I would expect to see Lander maybe go back to that at the beginning of the second half, but that kind of play wears you down on both sides. So I think that we might see a little bit more of an aggressive look for North Georgia, and a little bit more possession early on in the second half from Lander.
Got a minute back until we're back in halftime. Looks like Lander's all ready to go. We'll switch sides of the field.
Yeah, and I have noticed that the weather has been cooling off as the sun goes down. We are headed towards those fall temperatures like you were talking about earlier in the broadcast, and I think they'll be here to stay this weekend. I think the high is maybe 69, 68 degrees. So
fall weather's starting to creep in here in Dahlonega.
Absolutely.
And one thing I want to mention before we get back to this game, it is Spirit Night here at the UNG soccer field at Lincoln Park, and had a couple festivities going on at halftime. I went down to the tent and I got myself a free Spirit Night t-shirt, as I do every year that they have this event here during whether it's a men's or women's soccer game. But they also had some cool activities. And that's really the first time I think I've seen the t-shirt toss outside of a basketball game, and it was pretty cool to see that happen here during a soccer game, which I think was pretty cool.
Yeah, they had a t-shirt cannon. I actually think one of those ended up on the roof.
Yeah.
So if anybody's looking for a free t-shirt,
I think somebody might have grabbed it. But it was pretty cool that how far that thing launches. The grandstands are a little bit shorter here than they are in Lynn Cottrell Arena, where the basketball teams play. One other thing, too, before we get back to the soccer action. Nintendo Switch was given away. This is a pretty high-value, I'd say, game console. There's a lot of games you can play. It's been out on the market for a good while, so there's a deep library of games to play on there. And I don't remember the person's name, but that's a good piece of equipment to have, and might have some more people over at the dorm area now that you have a Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to come to a soccer game, watch a competitive soccer game, a good soccer game, and you win a Nintendo Switch. You can't really ask for much better.
Do you have a favorite Nintendo Switch game?
I like the Mario Kart.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
Yeah.
It's crazy how long that game has been released for. I don't know if I personally say I have a favorite, but anyways, it was really cool to see somebody win a Nintendo Switch at halftime and getting the students involved here at North Georgia. So, second half is underway, and the ball is already into Lander territory.
Yeah, an early corner here for North Georgia would be a really good momentum shift to get a goal here so early in the second half, kind of take control of the game. Actually, I think it's going to be a throw-in.
Well, if it was going to be a corner, that was going to be North Georgia's first corner shot all game. Landers got 6 already today. That one's going to be attempted to be headed in by Elwin Asiedu, and that one's just going to go right over the goal.
Yeah, Elwin's going to win those headers most of the time. His size is just kind of tough to deal with, and it's a big mismatch.
And that's a player that you want to see out on the field. I haven't seen when the last time we called our game, he wasn't out on the field too much at the time, but nice to see his presence back out on the field as being one of those bigger players.
Absolutely. It's always dangerous when you have a guy that size down there on the long throw-ins like we just saw or a corner kick.
So it's going to be in the backfield, dribbling with a couple of Nighthawks. Paige Sinclair, it's going to roll right out of bounds. So it's going to be met with a couple of Nighthawks. Charlie Bushby is over in that area, and alongside Paige Sinclair and Aram Laura. It's going to be a throw in by Harrison Wright. That one's just going to bounce, I think, right off of either a North Georgia player or looks like it bounced off it could have been one of the North Georgia players on the near side of the field. That one's going to be headed by Aram Laura. Zach Meyer kicking this one to Rob Diamond. Where now it's back in Zach Meyer's possession. Myers going to kick this one deep, and it's going to go sail far right of the goal. Hazelay made an attempt on a save, but luckily ball went far right of the back of the net.
Yeah, good awareness for Hazelay there. He dove to make the save, realized it wasn't going in, and pulled back a little bit so he could get the goal kick instead of risking a corner.
This one's going to be kicked deep by Michael Walsh from inside the box. Doesn't get to midfield. Now ball crosses over midfield. That one's going to get kicked deep into North Georgia territory. And that ball just nearly sails out of bounds, and they will call it out of bounds. Well, it eventually landed out of bounds anyways due to the kick going in the backside of the field. North Georgia regaining possession. Asiedu. Ball's going to land right out of bounds and into the hands of Julian Sagnol. Sagnol coming in for the first time in this game, a junior out of France. That one's going to be kicked right up into the trees, and it's another ball, as we said, not lost in the forest this year. Haven't seen too many of those.
Yeah, you can see the leaves falling down. I think as it gets colder, it's been dry of late, so not much to get stuck in.
It has been dry of late, and you might not be able to see it on camera, but the leaves are all dying on the near side, and you'd think they'd be dying really on the far side, but I guess there's been a switch up in, I guess, maybe how these plants deal with the fall weather, so maybe it's from bottom up instead of from top down. So it's going to be a Jamie Escos Castillo throw-in where Mattia Balzano comes up. He gets possession for North Georgia. Hazel Lay right there in the backfield. Going to kick this one right near midfield where and this one's going to be charged right over midfield where it's going to go land right into the feet of Julian Sagnol. .40 minutes left to play in this match. Asiedu passing this one to Walsh. Walsh passes this one to Sinclair. It's going to be passed on the near side far line where Walsh is going to hit this one right into Harrison Wright, and that's just going to bounce right out of bounds, and it's going to be a throw-in by Castillo for Lander. And this one is going to be contested where Max Garnett is going to get tripped up on the play there. Almost had a good shot at making a charge deep downfield. And it looks like it's going to be a yellow card. And it's going to be a stoppage of time as the ref is going to be handing out a yellow card. Looks like yellow card might be issued to... It's going to be issued to Rashawn Kelman.
Yellow card issued to number 31, Rashawn Kelman.
It's going to be a free kick for North Georgia. And Elwin Asiedu is going to collide with the back of Juan Rodriguez, and Asiedu's yet to get up on the field. So North Georgia playing with 10 men deep into Lander territory. Asiedu still down for North Georgia. Lander going to attempt to get this one into the back of the net, but it's going to sail out of bounds. Asiedu just getting back right up on his feet. And a crazy sequence of events. Asiedu getting a little chippy with Rodriguez in the backfield.
Yeah, that was a scary situation just based on the game alone. You know, one of our bigger and better defenders was down in the other team's box for an extended period of time as Lander made that run. So great job by them being able to get through that and being able to weather the storm.
Try an attempt to be headed in by Lander, but that was couldn't see it from this position, but that was either a kick or a throw-in, but well over past the goal, and not a good position for Lander to get their first goal in the game. Charlie Bushby looks like to be the player on the far side of the field that's going to free kick this one in. Kick on the way, and it looks like it's going to get broken up. Where that one's going to be nearly headed by Mikhail Prince. This one's just going to sail right out of bounds for a North Georgia repossession. This one inside the box in North Georgia territory. That one's going to get broken up where it's going to be met by a Lander player. Now back into the possession is Castillo, and this one's going to land right out of bounds. It's going to be thrown back in. There was an obvious hold there by Rashawn Kelman on Santiago Cano, literally hugging him. And it looks like the refs do call it, but it was like a big bear hug from Kelman to Cano.
Yeah, I think the ref was giving advantage. Once that advantage ended, back to the spot of the foul. Kelman's got to be careful, though. He already has one yellow. So you don't want to get a second and have your team down 10 men.
Aram Laura on the free kick. It's going to be just received by goalkeeper Juan Rodriguez. In the backfield, Rashawn Kelman. Passing it to Castillo. Castillo passes this one to Christian Hatley. And Michael Walsh coming up with a great defensive play is going to jump over Castillo. And Paige Sinclair is going to get pushed down to the ground. And the ball is going to eventually land out of bounds. Lander players looking for a penalty there in multiple situations. That's going to be thrown in, and it's going to be kicked to the near side of the field where Landon Avelos Castillo back in possession for Lander. Bushby. And that one's going to be kicked by Christian Hatley. Hatley's going to hit the left side of the goal, but it's not anywhere near for a goal, first goal of the game so far, but for both teams. Hazel Lay. Looks like he's going to be kicking this one deep. So it's going to be kicked deep by Lay, where it's going to be headed by Rob Diamond of Lander. Mattia Balzano. And now Paige Sinclair, or Mikhail Prince passes this one to Mattia Balzano. Now Paige Sinclair in the back, and this one's just going to sail right out of bounds. And kicked right over to the midfield point, where it's going to land right out of bounds. Lander throw-in. Nighthawk tripped up there in the far side of the field. Right, get to pass this one to Mikhail Prince. Back to right. Right's going to get this one to Lay. Lay's going to pass this back over to right. Right to Prince. To Sinclair. Back to Aram Laura. Michael Walsh. Balzano to Prince. And this one getting near the box of Lander. where it's just going to be bounced off of two players and out of bounds.
Stepping on for Lander, number 24, Jonah Miller.
Lander trying to make a run on North Georgia, deep into North Georgia territory. Ball back inside the box. And great save there by Paige Sinclair, kicking this one out of bounds. Possibly Lander there could have had a open net, but a great save by Paige Sinclair.
Yeah, good recovery speed by Sinclair there to just get back, get that ball out of play, and end the Lander counterattack.
Looks like this is going to be a throw-in. Or it's actually going to be a free kick.
Yeah, going to have a pretty important corner here.
Quarter kick. It's on the way, and it's not going to go anywhere.
Yeah, it looks like that was maybe a foul call in the box. I think Hazelay is going to get a free kick here in the box, and they're going to move it quickly.
Chick-fil-A of Dahlonega is the presenting sponsor of the Nighthawk of the Week Award and a proud partner of North Georgia Athletics. If you're looking for great food nearby, it's Chick-fil-A's pleasure to serve you. And this one's going to be a free kick in for Lander, and it's not going to go anywhere back in the Lander backfield. And speaking of Chick-fil-A, just announced a few days ago, Angelina Linikova is the Nighthawk of the Week. She's a UNG women's tennis player winning the Chick-fil-A Nighthawk of the Week award. So we have played 17 minutes into the second half. Substitutions coming on for North Georgia. Will Bentley, and it looks like Tyler Vitelli is coming back on for North Georgia. But we're 17 minutes into the second half, and we're still seeing a lot of things, TJ, that stood true in the first half. A lot of bend, don't break defense.
Yeah, both back lines have been pretty phenomenal today. Not really preventing shots being taken, but just preventing, quality shots. There's been a lot of shots, but most of them have been, not on goal. So I think they've been a really good job of cutting down the angles and kind of, preventing a quality chance from occurring.
It's game tied at 0, 27.5 minutes to go in the game. A reminder, NCAA Division II did change the rules for overtime. There's no overtime in regular season, so ties can happen. So far, both teams have at least one tie. North Georgia having one tie on the season. Lander having 2 ties on the season so far. So still a scoreless affair here in Dahlonega. Lander's going to attempt to get this one over by the goal, but a nice kick up in the air. And a Nighthawk's going to go flying up in the air, and a great save by Hazel Lay inside the box. Lay doing kind of like a sideways flip there to prevent Lander getting their first goal of the game.
Yeah, I think there was some confusion on whether or not a foul would be called. It looks like the ref gave advantage, but now Hazel Lay is taking a free kick, so I don't know if that actually was a save, but it was remarkable effort right there on on the attempt.
So this one's going to get kicked into Lander territory, where a lot of the Bearcats are there to swarm it. Crowd getting hyped up. Nigel the Nighthawk running around the facility tonight. Lander trying to make a play deep into North Georgia territory. Unsuccessful. And it looks like we got a great opportunity here. Tyler Vitelli going deep into Lander territory. Looking for the first fall of the game. And it's going to be blocked by Jamie Escos Castillo. And it looks like it's going to go right back into the hands of North Georgia. So big opportunity for North Georgia to put the first points of the game up.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be their first corner of the game, if I'm correct on that. I don't think we've had one since.
I think it's their second. You might be right. It might be either their first or second. In the first half, North Georgia had no corner attempts. This one's going to go on the way. It's met by a lot of Lander players, and it's going to be battled out right there in the middle, but it's eventually going to get kicked out of the box.
Yeah, it's always dangerous when you see a bouncing ball in the box as a defender.
Especially when it's on the ground.
Exactly. Yeah, it's always, very risky, and your instincts take over and you just want to get it out.
This one's going to get kicked right over to Hazel Lay, and wow, what a great save, but immediately Landon Avalos goes down on the play. Not sure what happened there, but he immediately is grabbing his back. Great save by him. But immediately went down on the field and is in immense pain right now. And it looks like the trainers are going to come out onto the field.
Yeah, he made a great play, gave up the body, was in midair just to kick that out and get that out of play and prevent, a goal opportunity. It looks like he landed on maybe the tailbone, so that's always a rough injury pain-wise. Hopefully he'll be okay, and it's nothing more serious than that.
And we're going to take you to commercial break.
Considering a career change? Ready to lead in healthcare? Be a nurse in 15 months with our accelerated Bachelor's of Nursing track. Learn more at ung.edu/ABSN.
I'm here.
You've got a lot of reasons to be here.
I'm here.
That's why we're here at Georgia Heart Institute, where advanced heart attack treatment protocols are saving more hearts than anywhere else in the state. That's why we're here.
I'm here.
So you'll always be there. The future of heart care, we're leading Georgia there. Georgia Heart Institute.
Northeast Georgia Health System is a proud supporter of North Georgia Nighthawk Athletics.
Back with you here in Dahlonega. Santiago Cano stepping in for the injured Landon Avalos. And that was going to be a corner kick, and for Lander, and Hazel Lay is back with the ball. Michael Walsh in the backfield for North Georgia. That one's going to get headed by Zach Meyer. Whistles have been called.
It looks like it's going to be a North Georgia throw-in. Later thought it was theirs. try to go quick, but it's going to be a North Georgia throw-in on the side here.
Harrison Wright's going to be the Nighthawk that's throwing it in for North Georgia. Castillo kicking this one up in the air for Lander. Kicked up in the air again by Zach Meyer, where it's going to be met by Mikhail Prince in the backfield. And North Georgia getting a little bit of a run on Lander, where it's going to be deflected by Rashawn Kelman. But North Georgia's going to get the throw in. And it's going to be Max Garnett throwing it in for North Georgia. This is going to be a deep throw in for Garnett because he's currently standing right behind North Georgia's bench and not in front of it.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to try to throw it into the box.
And he does get that running start. Throw in the box is there. Was trying to get it to Elwin Asiedu, but didn't reach there in time before a Lander player came up with the ball. Juan Rodriguez talking something over in the backfield. This ball is going to cross over midfield. And this was going to be a shot onto the goal, and it's going to land right into the back of Hazelay's hands. A rollover to Elwin Asiedu. Asiedu got that towards the far sideline, but it's going to roll right out of bounds, where it looked like Mikhail Prince was. Garnett on the throw-in. And that one's going to go to the back inside the box. But that one's going to land out of bounds and is going to go just shy of the tree line here at Link Control Park, just over the fence. Garnett in on the throw-in again. Looks like he's going to get a running start.
Yeah, looks like they're going to try to get almost a set piece from this throw-in.
And it's going to be immediately met by Christian Hatley of Lander. And now Alejandro De Viena is going to kick that one into Lander territory, but it's going to be immediately run back deep into North Georgia territory. Lander looking to put their first goal up on the board and first goal of the game, but it's going to be blocked by a North Georgia player. Looked like it was blocked by Harrison Wright.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of the back line of North Georgia was in the box for that throw-in, using their size on the back line on offense, and a little bit of a delayed response getting back. I mean, we had a 3-on-1 there, but the North Georgia defender able to deal with it.
Looks like this is going to be a corner kick for Lander. This will be Lander's 11th corner kick of the game, and the 11th corner kick does not go inside the back of the net. 0 for 11 so far on the day.
Yeah, it's always tough when you have a back line like North Georgia does. That's, there's a lot of size back there, so it's always tough to kind of make something happen from those corners. They haven't had a lot of free kick chances so close, so I think maybe if they had one of those, it would be a little bit better because you can get a shot off from there. But the corners is just tough to deal with a back line that is the size of North Georgia's.
Lake kicks this one over midfield, where it's going to be recovered immediately by Lander. Jonah Miller on the possession, where it's going to be stolen by Elwin Asiedu in the backside of the field. And now Tyler Vitelli coming up with possession, gets wrapped up with Rob Diamond, and it's going to be Lander possession. Jamie Escos Castillo on the throw-in for Lander. Ball in possession of Castillo. Is going to pass this one to the backfield, Jed Smith. Couple Nighthawks here, right at the midfield point. Mikhail Prince sailing this one over right into Rashawn Kelman's feet, where that one's just going to be kicked out of bounds. Throw in for Lander. Prince right over there where the ball landed. It's going to be landed at the feet of Rob Diamond. Diamond's going to pass this one to another Lander player. Lander trying to make a move deep into North Georgia territory. Darius Wallace right in the back near the box for Lander. And that one's going to bounce right out of bounds. Twelfth corner kick of the game for Lander. This one up on the way, and it's going to be deflected by North Georgia. Tyler Vitelli, the Nighthawk on charge. Vitelli bouncing this one out of bounds. Looking to get the first opportunity of a goal in this game. Mikhail Prince right there, and it's going to be deflected by Juan Rodriguez. Mikhail Prince just gets almost there. Juan Rodriguez coming up with a save for Lander.
Yeah, that's probably the best chance that we've seen so far today. Great play, getting that run going, and then finding Mikhail Prince. And also a great play by the goalkeeper for Lander, making that save.
Now back into North Georgia's possession, but pinned back deep in their own territory. Michael Walsh passing this one to the far side of the field to Elwin Asiedu. This one getting kicked high up in the air by Max Garnett. And a player being tripped up in the air, and it looks like there's going to be looks like there is going to be a penalty called here. Looks like that could have been Will Bentley involved there with a Lander player. Lander player just getting up off the ground. Rob Diamond. Diamond getting off up the ground. No card called here, but it's going to be a free kick for Lander. That one kicked off by Charlie Bushby. Bushby's going to get this one, and it's going to be stolen on the far side of the field by Mikhail Prince. Prince is going to pass this one deep down the field, where Max Garnett is coming up with the possession. Garnett going to try to get that one inside the box, and it's going to be headed by a Lander player. Lander regaining possession on a North Georgia. It looked like a momentous run there, and that one is going to be deflected right off of Harrison Wright. And it's going to be a North Georgia throw-in with Tyler Vitelli throwing it in for, it's not going to be Tyler Vitelli, excuse me, Harrison Wright for the throw-in for North Georgia. Under 15 minutes to go in this game, tied at 0. Both teams looking for their first goal of the game. Whistle has been called. Hazelay at the quarter field mark. He's going to walk up towards midfield. Looks like there's going to be some substitutions that are going to be coming in shortly for both teams. Lay right up at the midfield point. Kick right towards the box area. Going to be headed by a Nighthawk player. And that kick, that ball landing right in there. Jersey grab by one of the Landers. Looks like foul might be called. It was Zach Meyer. Looked like he was holding onto the jersey of Aram Laura. And appears to be a free kick opportunity for North Georgia. Tied at 0, 13:30 left to go in this matchup in a Peach Belt Conference game. First of 2 matchups this season. Laura going to kick this one deep. Going to be attempted to be headed in, but it's going to be roll right out of bounds. And subs will step on for both teams. Looks like Paige Sinclair stepping back on for North Georgia. Christian Hatley coming back on the field for Lander. Stepping on for Lander, number 7, Christian Hatley. Number 21, Grant Wagner. And Grant Wagner, one of the starters today, also coming back on for Lander. This one's ball is gonna sail right out of bounds and into the grandstands here at the UNG soccer field. Wright throws this one in. Darius Wallace on the coverage. Now Lander trying to make a run. This ball, see if the 2 players will get caught up to it. And Max Garnett is just going to roll into that. Looked like he almost got the defensive stop, but whistles were called. Hazel Lay for a kick. Jitterbug Party Rentals, a trusted partner for all your inflatable and event rental needs, is a proud sponsor of North Georgia Athletics. Their mission is to provide an easy, safe, clean, and professional rental experience to the North Georgia area. Lander trying to make it another attempt on goal. This one's going to go wide and sail right out of bounds. And going to be a North Georgia throw-in, but Elwin Asiedu deep in the backfield inside the box near is down on the field. Trainers are being called out. From here, doesn't look like he's in any sort of pain. He's sitting upright, knees bent a little bit, but looks like something must be going wrong.
Yeah, it could be a re-aggravation of that injury earlier in the box on the other side of the field. Maybe it started hurting again, and he just wanted to stop play.
Elwin Asiedu still. Trainers looking at Asiedu. Elwin Asiedu definitely being a factor in today's game. Calling his name a lot and gotten a lot of the defensive stops for North Georgia. Sitting at 11:25. Both teams tied at 0 apiece. Neither Lander or North Georgia have cracked the back of the net yet. As we said, going into halftime and coming out of halftime, both teams are showing a bend, don't break defense. With not a lot of midfield play. A lot of plays made inside the box. 12 corner shots Landers had on the game so far. 12. North Georgia, 1. Lander, 6 shots on goal. North Georgia, 4 shots on goal. Neither have reached the back of the net. Finn Kelly Lewis is going to be stepping into the game for Elwin, the injured Elwin Asiedu, who's able to get up on his own feet and walking towards the sidelines with the athletic trainers. $11:25 left to go in the game. Game tied at 0. Both teams looking to find the back of the net. Max Garnett's going to throw this one in for North Georgia. It's going to be immediately met by Julian Sagnol. Kelman And that ball is going to stand right out of bounds, and there's going to be a big push by a Lander player on the far side of the field on Max Garnett. Doesn't look like there's any foul called.
Yeah, surprised not to see a card there. Ref is talking to him a little bit, but definitely surprised not to see a card there.
Only one card has been pulled so far in the game, and it was against Lander. Hazel A. Going to kick this deep from North Georgia's own territory. It's going to be met by Rob Diamond right at almost the midfield point and going to land right out of bounds. Garnett going to throw this one in for North Georgia. Kicks high up in the air, headed by a Nighthawk player. Where North Georgia tries to regain possession, but Lander player there immediately. And big hit inside the box. Player down for North Georgia. Looked like it on Mikhail Prince that got kicked in the head. But the ball sails out of bounds, and Mikhail Prince able to get back up on his own feet. Or excuse me, Paige Singh. This one, ball put back into play. Lander trying to make a run, but caught up right in the middle of Aram Laura. Some battling action going on the far side of the field. North Georgia coming up, winning that battle. Pass to Santiago Cano. Cano going to pass this to the near side. Harrison Wright. Harrison Wright going to get this one to Walsh, where Walsh is just going to pass this back to Hazel Lay. Lay's kick. It's going to land around midfield. Santiago Cano going past midfield. Opportunity here for the Nighthawks. Vitelli back there on the box for North Georgia, where it's going to be deflected by a Lander defender. Lander trying to make a charge on this for a goal, but it's going to be blocked by Michael Walsh. And that ball is going to get kicked out of bounds. Aram Laura and look like Rashawn Kelman. And substitutions are coming in for Lander. Or maybe not. Ref waving them off. Clock is stopped. Clock stopped at 7:57. Looks like it's going to be Max Garnett in for the throw-in for North Georgia. Garnett heading this one. To now where it's going to be in the possession of Tyler Vitelli. Vitelli driving downfield is going to kick this one right to Rashawn Kelman. Where Mikhail Prince battling that one out with a Lander defender, but Lander comes up victorious. Lander back deep in North Georgia territory again, looking for their first goal of the game. It's going to be deflected. Mikhail Prince back in possession for North Georgia. Giacomo Santori almost came up with that one. A little shaken up after that. And there's going to be a yellow card issued. Looks like yellow card's going to get issued to Mikhail Prince. Mikhail Prince coming up big in the past couple of minutes for North Georgia. That's 7:11 left in the game. Hazel Lay on the kick for North Georgia. Lay kicking this one into Lander territory. It's going to be headed by both a North Georgia and Lander player. Finn Kelly Lewis on the header, back to Hazel Lay. We'll get a correction to issue. The yellow card was issued to Satori, not Mikhail Prince. Under 7 minutes to go now. Deep into Lander territory. And Mikhail Prince is going to slide right into the far side flag of the corner. And it's going to be a kick for Juan Rodriguez and the Bearcats. Ball reaches over midfield. It's going to be Atlanta throw-in. Georgia regaining possession. Let's get past it to Vitelli. Vitelli not able to come up with it. Castillo was right there in front of Vitelli. Now Diamond. Diamond charging inside the box, and it's going to go over the goalpost. And no goal scored. And that'll be Lander's 7th shot on goal today. Still game tied at 0 with 5.5 minutes to go. Crowd's starting to get into this one. Lay kicks this one over to midfield, where it's going to be immediately headed by Bailey Hall. Max Garnett is going to throw this one in. Headed by a Lander player. Dancing around Aram Laura. And Paige Sinclair coming up with the steal, but immediately is going to be taken up by another Lander player. Lander making a deep run. Wallace kicking this one into Lander territory. This one getting in close inside the box. And Hazel Lay is going to make a nice star-grabbing catch. And holding Lander to yet another goal not scored. Game still tied at 0 as we hit the 4-minute mark here in Dahlonega. This one, ball's landing on the near side of the field. Mattia Balzano passes it to Harrison Wright. Finn Kelly Lewis on the far side for North Georgia. Immediately blocked by Wallace. And it looks like there's going to be whistles are called. 3:30 left to go in the game. Still tied at 0. Hazel Lay is come out of the box and has walked up to the right around the midfield line. North Georgia looking to put up their first goal of the game and first goal of the game overall. Lander and North Georgia Nighthawks lining up right on the box line. Lay kicking this one in. Is going to be headed by a Lander player. Tyler Vitelli. Paige Sinclair is going to be the Nighthawk that is going to throw this one in. Is actually going to defer to Harrison Wright. Tyler Vitelli deep in the backfield for North Georgia. Lander comes up with the possession again. Harrison Wright comes in for a nice block attempt, but it's going to land out of bounds and going to be a Lander throw-in. Rob Diamond passing this one to Zach Meyer. Meyer lands right out of bounds. Harrison Wright could be the Nighthawk that throws this one in. Wright passing it to Aram Laura. Aram Laura is going to get tripped up right at midfield on the logo. No whistle called. Wallace in possession. Pass back to Aram Laura. Mikhail Prince on the far side of the field, battling it out with Lander. Lander regains possession. Lander trying to make a run in this one to crack the back of the net, and that one's going to land right out of bounds. We've got a minute and 30 left to go in this game. Game tied at 0. No team is yet to get to the back of the net. Kick deep by Hazel Lay into Lander territory. Headed by Max Garnett in the far field. Lander back into possession. And it's going to be recovered by Paige Sinclair on the far side of the field, and it's going to land out of bounds. Clock stopped at a minute 5. Game tied at 0. 6 shots by Lander, 4 shots by North Georgia. None have reached the back of the net. This one kicked off by Finn Kelly Lewis. It's going to be headed by Santiago Cano. Under a minute left. Mattia Balzano in the near side for North Georgia is going to be regained by Lander. Christian Hatley in the deep field. They're going to try to make a run here, and it's going to go towards the back of towards the goal, but it's going to be far left. Another missed opportunity for Lander. So we've reached under 30 seconds to go. Lander, North Georgia trying to make something happen in the final 20 seconds. This ball is going to sail right out of bounds. 15 seconds remaining. Clock still winding down. Lander going to try and throw this one in as we have reached under 10 seconds to go. It's going to be headed in the air. Max Garnett on the kick in the air. 2 seconds left to go. And this game will end in a tie. North Georgia nothing, Lander nothing, and what you could say a bend, don't break type of day for both teams. 6 shots by Lander, 4 shots by North Georgia. Neither team able to find the back of the net. TJ, what are your final takeaways from tonight's game?
A really big game for Hazel Lay. It very well could have been a loss for North Georgia, and really both goalkeepers played really well tonight. Lay had a few opportunities that Lander forced where it looked like a goal was coming, and Lay would just make an incredible save and really save the day. So really, hero of the day has got to be Hazel Lay, just being able to withstand all those shots. And our stats just refreshed up here in the press box, and it's actually going to be 9 shots for Lander, 5 shots for North Georgia. Lander 0 for 9. A lot of that credit, as you said, to Hazel Lay and the North Georgia defense. Yeah, absolutely. The back line of North Georgia did a good job of preventing many quality chances, but when those quality chances came, Hazel Lay was there to prevent them from scoring. So just a big night for Hazel Lay. Well done by him. Scoreless draw. And I think both teams will take that. And they will. It's going to be a tie ball game. North Georgia is going to be facing off against Georgia Southwestern at home this Saturday, October 7th at 3:30 p.m. You can catch that all right here on the Nighthawk Sports Network. Once again, your final score, North Georgia nothing, Lander nothing, coming up in a tie ball game for Devin Kupka. And TJ Campbell saying so long from Dahlonega. And we'll see you guys Saturday against Georgia Southwestern. Final score, North Georgia 0, Lander 0.